Hi, fourth grade. Welcome to our planting video number 2. So I am very excited because today we are going to check our progress on the germination of our seeds. And I actually have some growth. I'm very excited. So for today's lesson, first we're going to take our, you're going to fill online, or if you print it out, you can do that too. You're going to fill your plant journal chart to chart the progress of our seeds. Now, remember to put the date. Okay, so May 22nd, this is for tomorrow, 2020. Observations. Okay, so I'm going to show you, I actually have 2 because I did them for both classes. So my observation is that I do see small growth. I see some stems popping up. Okay, and I do see small leaves starting to form, which is a good sign. So I'm going to fill that in right on my chart. My plant, what have I been doing to care for my plant? Of course, giving it TLC. Like I told you, I'm watering it every day, making sure it's in the sunlight, okay? Water, sunlight, making sure the temperature is not too cold for it, okay? That's what I'm doing to care for my plants. Now, my prediction for next time is that I think I'm going to see about another inch of growth from the stem. And I'm going to put that right underneath where I have my prediction column. Now, measure growth. Again, some of you may not be able to do this if you didn't have any growth yet. Remember, be patient. It takes time. Some of your seeds will take longer to germinate than others. I was able, so I used my tape measure, and I am going to use my longest little stem here, okay? So I'm gonna get in there, and if I use my measuring tape, it's about an half of an inch. So I'm gonna put in my undergrowth half of an inch. Okay. So again, if you have not planted your seed, you still need to fill out your plant journal. You're just gonna use my observations as your plant journal. If you have your seeds, you can fill out before our meeting or after, okay? Now, remember, be patient. Hopefully next time our seeds have grown so much that we may have to put them into a bigger a bigger pot. Some of us are actually getting to that stage, which is very exciting. But be patient, give your plants a lot of TLC, and we'll get there. So, for the next part of the lesson is going to be a little experiment that I'm going to do online with you. And I'm also going to do it on our Google Meets too. So I just want to review a couple parts of the plants before we actually get into the experiment. So we talked about a couple lessons ago, parts of the plants. Obviously the roots on the bottom. Okay, that's where the roots are there to hold the plant down. It gets nutrients from the soil, okay, to help the plant grow. The stem, okay, this tubular kind of traveling point for the other parts of the plant that holds the plant in place, okay, and it grows away from the ground and helps to keep the plant upright, okay, just keeps it nice and keeps it straight. The next part is the leaf, okay, and this part actually captures the sunlight so the plant can make food. And then we have our flower. This enables the flower to be able to reproduce and to be able to attract insects or deers and squirrels, whatever gets into your garden and tries to eat your flowers. So that's the part of the plant that does that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start our experiment. It's called Slurp. And for the experiment, I'm going to be using 2 types of plants. I'm going to be using celery, which is a plant. I'm going to be using a carnation. Okay, it's just a white flower. Okay, and what I'm going to be doing is I am going to put these 2 plants, okay, I measured out the same amount of water. Each flower has a cup of water in it, which is important because you want to have the same variables when you're doing an experiment. Now, what I'm going to do next is with the 2 plants, I'm going to take food coloring. Okay, and I'm going to fill I'm going to drop, and I'll hold it up after so you can see. I'm going to drop 3 drops of blue into the celery. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'm going to do 4. 4. Perfect. And then I'm going to do pink food coloring, 4 drops into the carnation. Oh, I'm going to back up a second. I think I jumped ahead. So before this, on your lab chart, you have to fill in your hypothesis. Remember, we've done this before. The hypothesis is a guess on what you think is going to happen in this experiment. Okay, it's just a guess. It's a prediction of what you think is going to happen. So what do you think is going to happen with these 2 plants when they're put into water that is filled with color? On the chart, you have a category for celery to fill in. What do you think will happen? And then you have another category or another section that says fill in for carnation. What do you think will happen to the carnation when it's put into colored water? So you want to do that before you actually watch the rest of the video, okay? Now, what we are going to do is I'm going to just hold up so you can see, okay? Here is the celery in blue colored water. And next is the carnation, okay? And purpley pink, let me just move this so you can see. Purpley pink water. Okay, so I'm going to leave those there for now. On your lab write-up, there's also a chart where you want to fill in what do you think will happen. What do you think that if you think it'll affect these plants, what part of the plant do you think it will affect? Okay, do you think it's going to affect the roots? Do you think it's going to affect the leaves? Do you think it's going to affect the flowers? You want to think about what part of it might affect and why. And if you think there's going to be no effect at all, you can put that in the chart, but you also have to explain why you might think that, okay? But this experiment is to be continued because we need to wait a couple days to see what happens. So you're going to work on the first part of the lab, which is filling in your hypothesis and the chart. And then when we get the results, we're going to view the celery and the carnation to see if our predictions were correct. So thank you for joining me again for our planting video 2, and good luck with your plants.